Maps are not just ink on parchment, they echo power. In Middle-earth, where kingdoms rose and fell with the stroke of a sword or the whisper of a ring, the War of the Ring was more than just the end of Sauron. It redrew the world. Borders shifted. Cities became reborn. Kingdoms expanded. Empires collapsed. How did war change the boundaries of nations inhabiting Middle-earth? And hold on really fast guys, if you have been looking for a place to stay, check out my Expedia link below. Do you want to travel, but do not know where to start? Expedia's got you covered. This agency allows you to make hotel stays, travel arrangements and more. I've used Expedia several times and even accrued hotel deals, sometimes on the fly. Expedia can offer car rentals and even things to do. It allows for cancellation on some excursions. Just click the link below to support our channel. The link is right below. Thank you. To understand how the world changed, we must first understand how it stood. At the end of the Third Age, Middle-earth was fractured. Once great kingdoms like Honor in the north had long fallen. Gondor still stood, but barely, a shadow of its former glory, beleaguered by centuries of war. Rohan was strong, but small. And east of the Anduin, darkness reigned. Mordor, the land of the enemy, had no fixed borders. Its rule was influence, corrupting, violent, ever-expanding. Its reach extended into Harad to the south, Run to the east, and the mountains of shadow that sealed off the dead lands from the free peoples of the west. This was the world on the eve of war. The War of the Ring was fought not only in the craggy peaks of Mordor or the fields of Pelennor. It was fought in the loss of trade, the movement of refugees, the silence of forests once filled with laughter. It was fought in the very structure of nations. As Sauron unleashed his armies, the Southrons of Harad and the Easterlings of Run marched not just as allies, but as instruments of Mordor's expansionist will. If they had won, the map of Middle-earth would have become one great empire of tyranny. Gondor would have been annihilated. Rohan enslaved. The Shire would have burned. But they lost. And with their loss came not only liberation, but also opportunity. During the war several sides changed. Erebor and Dale were re-established as kingdoms because Thorin and Gandalf beat the dragon Smaug. They also helped protect Eriador. Sauron was successful in taking east and then western Osgiliath. The last march of the Ents caused Isengard to return to a forest named the Forest of Orgund, with some of the forest going to their control and Mirkwood Forest renamed Greenwood, with the central region going to the Woodsmen. At the heart of the new order was Gondor. With the return of Aragorn, now King Elessar Telcontar, the reunited kingdom was born. This was not merely the crowning of a man, but the reunification of two great realms, Gondor in the south, and Orna in the north. Though Orna had been a wasteland for 1,000 years, its inclusion signaled Elessar's intent, a kingdom not just reborn, but restored. The Shire, the Breelands, and the remnants of Old Arthedain were now under the protection of the reunited kingdom. Elessar drew new borders, not with conquest, but with diplomacy and memory. The Shire was granted complete autonomy under royal protection, its borders recognized and defended but never interfered with. Its lands remained unchanged, but its place on the map gained new weight. In Edwaith and Minhiriath, the wild lands between Orna and Gondor began to see settlement again. Rangers returned home. Forts were rebuilt. Old roads cleared. To the south, Gondor reclaimed Ithilien, once overrun by orcs. Under the stewardship of Faramir, the land was restored, its border with Mordor heavily fortified, but no longer a war front. The war had not only defended Gondor, it allowed it to expand peacefully into its old domains. For Rohan, the War of the Ring marked not territorial gain, but consolidation. King Ema succeeded Theoden and reaffirmed Rohan's allegiance to Gondor. Though no new lands were added, the Eastfold, the lands between the Entwash and the White Mountains, were now safer and more unified. More crucially, the western border, long threatened by Isengard and the corruption of Saruman, was pacified. Though the Ents of Fangorn claimed no kingdom, their awakening in the war meant that Isengard was no longer a threat. Ema honored the new order, and Rohan remained a close ally, its borders unchanged but its future secure. And then there was Mordor, the heart of the storm. With the destruction of the One Ring, Barad-dûr fell. The Eye was extinguished, but the land itself remained. Elessar made a crucial decision: Mordor would not be colonized. The free peoples would not become conquerors. Instead, the land was sealed, its borders patrolled. The Black Gate remained closed, a symbol of vigilance, not expansion. The orcs settled along the lake. The Sea of Nirnan, however, where many enslaved men had labored under the yoke of Sauron, was treated differently. Elessar declared those lands free and granted them to the former slaves, men of the south and east who had cast off Sauron's chains. There was a king who ruled justly and wisely, whose borders were drawn not with blood, but with justice. and under his reign, the map of Middle-earth finally became a place where hope could grow. From the Red Book of West March, the greatest shifts on the map, however, were not drawn in ink, but in influence. For centuries, the West had regarded Harad and Run as lands of enemies. But the war exposed the truth: many in those lands had fought not for hatred, but under duress, under lies, under fear. Elessar did not seek to conquer them, but to make peace. Diplomatic missions were sent, treaties signed. Some border towns in Harad became neutral trade outposts. Skirmishes ceased. The map did not move, but the power behind the borders did. Run remained mysterious, its heartlands never fully mapped by Gondor. But even there, emissaries went. No territories changed hands, but Mordor's grip was broken. The East was no longer enemy territory, but uncertain potential. The War of the Ring marked the beginning of the end for the elves, but not before one final shift. In Mirkwood, Sauron's influence was purged. Dol Guldur was cast down by Galadriel. In its place, Thranduil's realm expanded southward, and Celeborn, Lord of Lothlorien, claimed the southern woods. The forest was renamed Erin Las Galen, the Wood of Green Leaves. Now, instead of one corrupted forest, there were 3 elven realms, loosely connected. Thranduil's kingdom in the north, Celeborn's southern realm, and a wild central stretch, left unclaimed. But this would be temporary. The elves were leaving. Their borders faded, not shifted, leaving behind silence and memory. The dwarfs played a smaller part in the war's final acts, but they too saw a change in map and power. The lonely mountain, Erebor, remained sovereign under King Thorin Three-Stone Helm. Its borders did not grow, but its influence did. The defeat of Sauron meant that dwarfs could travel more safely. The trade route from Erebor to Dale and down the river running into the south was open again. In Moria, there was no reclaiming, not yet. Durin's Bane had left deep scars. Still, whispers told of dwarfs exploring Khazad-dûm once more. In the north, the Shire remained exactly the same on the map, however its status changed entirely. King Elessar declared that no big folk were ever to enter it without permission. It became, in effect, a protected micronation, sovereign in peace, defended in war. And Orna, long dead, was resurrected. The reunited kingdom now extended from the Bay of Foreshell in the north to the Bay of Belfalaz in the south. An empire of alliance, not tyranny. Maps are more than borders. They are symbols, all of control, of memory, of hope. The War of the Ring redrew no single great empire, but it redefined the balance of the world. Gondor and Orna rose again. Mordor fell, but was not claimed. Allies were made of former enemies. Forests healed. Mountains whispered of new beginnings. And in the quiet corners of the map, the Shire, Dale, Ithilien, life returned. Middle-earth was not unified by conquest, but by the defeat of darkness and the restoration of trust. And so the Fourth Age began, not with trumpets, but with pens, with treaties, with peace. And the borders? They told the story of what was lost, and what was finally won. There was a king who ruled justly and wisely, whose borders were drawn not with blood, but with justice. And under his reign, the map of Middle-earth finally became a place where hope could grow. From the Red Book of West March.